Good morning, everybody. I would like to welcome you this morning to Public Service and Employee Subcommittee. Members, please sign in if you have not. Okay, now, Mr. Clerk, we will take the roll. Madam Clerk says Mr., but I see you're a madam, so we're going to change that. Madam Clerk. Okay, take the roll, please.
Madam Chair, you have 4 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you. Do we have any personal orders this morning? I need to learn to vote, don't I? I did. I signed in. I thought. Anyway, Chairman messed up. I'm here. So personal orders. Do we have any personal orders this morning? Yes. Representative Salinas?
Hi, I just wanted to welcome the Catholic schools that are in our building today, and especially one person too. It's Miss Janet over there. She took care of me at St. Jude when I was a little kid and was a cancer patient there. So I'm happy to see so many friendly faces. I graduated from a Catholic school in Memphis, so it's great to see them up here.
Welcome, everybody. We're glad to have you here today. Some cleanup on our regular calendar. To start, there's a few housekeeping items we need to take care of. Item number 3, House Bill 731 has been rolled for 1 week. Item 4, House Bill 535 has been rolled for 1 week. Item number 7, House Bill 741 has been rolled for 2 weeks. Item number 13, House Bill 1071 has been rolled for 1 week. If now that there's no objections, we're going to take up, we're going to go out of order to take. Oh, yeah, okay, that's right. So if there's no objections, we are going to go out of order to take up item number 9, which is House Bill 1095 by Representative Doggett. Do we have a motion? Here's Representative.
I'm sorry, Chair Lady. I was looking at the calendar and it was on. Wait a minute. I don't know. My folder's upside down.
Well, you need to turn it right side up.
I'm sorry,
That'll work
ma'am.
much better.
We just finished committee, and if you will, bear with me.
I will.
There is an amendment code 4050.
That's correct. Do I have a motion and a second on that amendment? I do. If there's no objections, we'll go ahead and put that amendment on the bill. All those in favor signify by saying aye. No, if you oppose, please say no. The ayes have it, and we're going to put the amendment on the bill. The bill is properly before us, and Chairman Doggett, please explain your bill.
Thank you very much. Committee, what this bill does, it addresses special deputies, which is kind of a unique provision within the code. And to my knowledge, there's 2 communities in this state. They're resort towns that have special deputies. And so what this will do, the law will state that to be a special deputy in this state, you will have to be post-certified. So those departments will have to have post-certified officers. They'll have to go through the exact same requirements that all police and sheriffs and other law enforcement officers of the state have to go through. Their training, the annual in-service, those types of things.
Do we have any questions for our sponsor? Question's been called. We're ready to vote. Clerk, please open the vote. All in favor of moving this to full committee, please say aye. And those opposed, no. Every member has voted. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Clerk, please take the vote.
Madam Chair, you have 5 ayes.
The ayes have it, and the bill moves on to full committee.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. This brings us back to item number 1 by Chairman HB 479 by Chairman Hicks. We have a motion and a second. There are no amendments filed. So Chairman, you have the floor to explain your bill.
All right. Thank you, Chair Lady and members. House Bill 479 enacts the Tennessee National Guard Service Members Medical Readiness Act, which creates within the military department the Tennessee National Guard TRICARE Premium Reimbursement Program to award reimbursement grants to a member of the Tennessee National Guard who meets the reimbursement application requirements established by the Adjutant General through written policies and guidelines for reimbursement. So, members, there's really, this bill actually does 4 things, or looks at 4 different areas. It looks at military readiness, recruiting and retention, continuity of care, and access to care. And just to kind of give it an idea of go a little bit further of what this does. So currently about 19% of the 12,475 authorized service members in the Tennessee National Guard are non-deployable due to medical and or dental issues. This means they're not available to be placed on orders for federal missions, and their participation in state active, which includes floods, fires, tornadoes, is evaluated on an individual basis, and military readiness is enhanced by access to care. And so that's what this bill is going to be doing. It would just allow these members that don't have access to care to have access to insurance.
Members, do we have any questions for our sponsor? Questions been called? Madam Clerk, please take the vote. Open the vote, then we'll take the vote. Those in favor of moving the bill to full committee, aye. Those opposed are no. Every member has voted. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Madam Chair, you have 5 ayes and 0 noes.
The ayes have it, and this bill moves on to full committee.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Committee and Chair.
Next up is item number 2, House Bill 344 by Chairman Moon. We have a motion and we have a second. There are no amendments filed. So Chairman, please explain your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair, lady members. This bill is a housekeeping bill to codify the MTAS guidance to municipalities on how to calculate the 20 statutory days of leave time for our public employees who are serving in the military and National Guard. It also aligns with how the Department of Human Resources calculating workdays. This bill was so simple, it was sitting in the clerk's office as a caption bill. I said, no, Madam Clerk, this is really a bill. This just provides clarity, defining the workday for especially firefighters as 24 hours. With that, Madam Chair Lady, I'll stand for questions.
Do we have any questions for our sponsor? Yes, Representative McCalman.
There we go. Thank you, Chair Lady and sponsor. This is a good bill, and as somebody who just had to present in the last committee a bill that was so simple it was stuck on the clerk's desk as a caption, I can certainly appreciate simple legislation. So look forward to voting in favor of it, sir.
You're recognized. Do we have any more questions? Questions been called and we're ready to vote. Madam Clerk, please open the vote. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Got to remember to do that. Clerk, please take the vote.
Madam Chair, you have 5 ayes and 0 noes.
The ayes have it. This bill moves on to full committee. Next, we have item number 5, which is House Bill 632 by Representative Clements. Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. There are no amendments filed. Representative, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair and committee. I appreciate the opportunity to present this legislation. This bill would allow a paid volunteer leave policy for eligible state employees. They must have worked for the state of Tennessee for 1 year and work at least 1,600 hours annually. And then this just basically gives them the opportunity to carry out, we're the volunteer state. State employees actually brought me this legislation. A state employee brought me this legislation. We want to make it available to them to donate their time to nonprofits, religious institutions, or others in our communities across the state of Tennessee. And that's all the bill does.
Thank you for that explanation. Members, do we have any questions? Representative McCollum?
Thank you, Chair Lady. Mr. Chairman, how is it that there is no significant fiscal note on this if we're going to add 15 hours of paid leave?
You're recognized.
Well, because as the fiscal note states, the state employees' salaries are already fully budgeted. Therefore, there are no additional payroll costs associated with them taking leave. It's just basically, rather than giving them additional vacation time for paid because their salary is set, they get the opportunity to use with 14 days notice to their supervisor and approval for that Tennessee state-specific nonprofit. They can take that time to volunteer in the community.
Representative Warner, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Would this time, when they take this time off, would it come off of vacation time or sick time?
You're recognized.
No.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any more questions for our sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. Clerk, please open the vote. Those in favor of moving this bill to full committee, please vote aye. Those opposed, no. Every member has voted. Does anyone want to change their vote? Clerk, please take the vote.
Madam Chair, you have 1 aye and 4 noes.
The noes have it. I'm sorry, your bill fails.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and committee.
Item number 6 is House Bill 1164 by Representative McCollum. Do we have a second? We have a motion and we have a second, and there are no amendments. And so, Representative, you are recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Members, what this bill does is simply allow our uniformed police and sheriffs to wear their military medals and ribbons had they served on both Veterans Day and Memorial Day and the day after to bring some, while limited, additional appreciation for their service. And with that, I stand ready for questions and I renew my motion.
You heard the explanation. Do we have any questions from our members? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you open the vote? Those in favor of moving this bill to full committee, please say aye. And those opposed, please vote no. Every member has voted. Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Madam Chair, you have 5 ayes and 0 noes.
The ayes have it, and this bill moves on to full committee. Up next is item number 8, House Bill 1388 by Representative Harris. Is Representative Harris in the room? We will roll this bill to the hill. Next, we have item number 10, which is House Bill 318 by Chairman Rudd. Do we have a motion and a second? We do. There's no amendments filed. Chairman, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you. This legislation states that any policies of the World Health Organization, the United Nations, or the World Economic Forum have no jurisdiction in Tennessee. The Biden administration had attempted to give these organizations jurisdiction by policy, but not by law. course, we can't overturn a congressional law, but no foreign power or non-governmental organization should have the power to pass taxes, laws, mandates, or policies without congressional or legislative approval. And that's what this bill states in Tennessee.
Thank you for that explanation. Members, do we have any questions to our sponsor? Yes, Representative Salinas.
I was just wondering if we had testimony. That's all. That wasn't to the sponsor. If anybody had signed up to speak. I wasn't sure if it was before or after.
Do, if requested, and you're requesting that we have someone give testimony?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, well, certainly. We're going to go out of session. Would Macy Flew-Hardy please come forward? Please state your name and who you're with for the record, and you have a 3-minute time limit.
Thank you. My name is Macy Flew-Hardy. I'm a Davidson County resident. The war on science waged by the far right is not only silly, but dangerous. These denials of expertise in science is what I would expect from a displeased 5-year-old, not middle-aged people who promise to protect their constituents. The World Health Organization has proven their credibility and necessity. Their guidelines are based on extensive peer-reviewed studies, evidence, and scientific research. On top of this, the WHO is transparent in their work, which in my experience is hard to come by with official agencies these days. This is blatant government overreach. My home of Nashville is the most populated city in Tennessee. My local government should be able to decide what is best for their people. When we had a global pandemic, which is still denied by much of the Republican Party, my city had the autonomy to decide what is best for their constituents. This bill removes that autonomy, and like I said, this is complete government overreach, which I thought this body did not support. This legislature consistently votes for bills that put Nashville's constituents at harm both physically and mentally, and likely some, if not half or most of your constituents as well. This is a pattern. Not to mention the economic issues that come from neglecting health concerns stated by experts in related fields. These are very serious consequences of this legislature's war against its own people. You took an oath that you will not vote for legislation that will harm your constituents. I am begging you to put your identity politics against science to the side and remember this promise. Your jobs hold serious and in some cases deadly consequences. Please vote responsibly and vote no against this forceful and dangerous display of government overreach. Thank you.
And thank you. Do we have any questions? No questions. Thank you. So we will go back into session. Do you have any further comment?
This has nothing to do with the pandemic or anything else. This is, we took our instructions during that period from the Centers for Disease Control, which is an American governmental organization, and that's what this is stating, that we will take our policies, orders, and recommendations from the federal and state governments, not from world organizations. Now, if the Center for Disease Control, the federal government, wishes to adopt through treaty or through any other means a world policy, then that's up to them. But we will only take orders from our elected officials and our government.
Do we have any questions for the sponsor? Yes, Representative Salinas.
Yeah, my question is, how would this affect international travel, especially through Memphis and BNA, as the WHO often sets advisories and rolls out different things that they're monitoring worldwide?
You're recognized.
Wouldn't affect it at all because, again, we, number one, the United States is not a member of the World Health Organization currently. We could be in the future, but we're not a member of the World Health Organization. President Trump took us out of that. We could be put back in, but they do not dictate Americans' travel. That is negotiated by the FAA and the federal government. So we would adapt to whatever policies they agreed to. The federal government stated and agreed to.
You're recognized.
So if there's like an Ebola crisis that has been named by the WHO, and people are trying to travel through to those countries, and a local government or the state government or any other entity would want to protect those students, or not students, those individuals, and would want to adopt some of the recommendations and or follow advisories set by the WHO, would this impede that?
You're recognized.
They're not allowed to do that now. And let's say there's an Ebola breakout in some part of the world. We send members of the Center for Disease Control and other federal agencies to assist local and international organizations. It's still up to, and always has been up to, the federal government to set those standards on American travel.
You're recognized.
So just for the record, this will have no effect on keeping Americans safe that travel abroad, especially in areas where are endemic to diseases that we don't have here.
You're recognized.
As it is currently, and it has been the practice, regardless of the political party, the federal government lists where there are dangerous travel zones and no-fly zones. And if an American chooses to fly to that area, that's up to them. If they come back from an area that's infected, the federal government usually has quarantine procedures for that. That is the policies that have been in effect and are in effect.
You're recognized.
Is it on? Okay.
Mhm.
Do you know how many Americans die from travel-related diseases?
You're recognized.
No, that's not really a part of this bill, but no, I do not.
You have any more questions? Okay. Question's been called. We're ready to vote. So, Madam Clerk, please open the vote. Those in favor of this bill moving forward, please vote aye. Those in favor, opposed, no. Has every member cast their vote except me? Does anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Madam Chair, you have 4 ayes and 1 no.
The ayes have it, and this bill moves on to full committee. Next, we have item number 11, which is House Bill 805 by Representative Grills. We have a motion and a second, and there are no amendments. Representative, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill requires the state retirement system and local pension funds to divest from entities known to be majority owned by Chinese. I believe we also worked with the treasurer on this, and this is pretty much a practice they already have implemented, but we want to put this in the code to support our treasurer in his efforts.
Members, you've heard the explanation. Do we have any questions? Anybody? Yes. You're recognized, Representative Salinas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Are there any other countries that we do not invest in, or our pension is not invested with, I guess?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can't give you an answer for that currently.
You're recognized.
Thank you. Why China?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, they regularly violate human rights. They're very adversarial towards us, and for our own financial security, I feel like it's best for us to invest in America.
You're recognized. Do you have another question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but this is also, some of these companies are also owned, it's not the Chinese government, but also owned by Americans, because it's not just Chinese companies, it's majority owned by, so what I'm saying, it's not only China, depending on the percentage of that company. So isn't this discriminating people that are also within that company that may not be Chinese?
You're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The legislation says majority Chinese owned.
You're recognized.
majority, but not all.
You recognize.
You're correct.
Any more questions? Representative McCalman.
Thank you, Chair Lady. Sponsor, a good bill. Look forward to voting for it. I would imagine that according to the U.S. Department of State, countries like Burma, I'm reading it right here, the People's Republic of China, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, there's a whole slew of these bad actor countries that I would imagine we would not be interested in investing in as well. With regards to the CCP, any company that goes to that is Chinese owned has to be by Chinese law 51% owned, which means they're entitled to control and any data that that company has. So again, look forward to voting for it. Good bill, and thank you for bringing it before this committee.
If we don't have any more questions from the members, are we ready to vote? Question's been called, so all of that, please open the vote. Those in favor of moving this to full committee signify by voting aye, and those opposed, no. Has every member voted? Does anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Madam Chair, you have 4 ayes and 1 no.
The ayes have it, and this bill moves on to full committee. Next up is item number 12, which is HB 22 by Representative Davis. We have a motion and a second. There is an amendment filed on this bill. Do we have a motion and a second on that bill, on this amendment? Yes, we have that. Could you please give us the drafting code for that amendment?
Yes, Madam Chair. I have 3821.
Thank you. If there's no objections, we'll go ahead and put that amendment on the bill. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the amendment goes on the bill. The bill is now properly before us, and so Representative, would you please explain your bill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. In 23, we passed a law regarding public comment to allow for the community to be able to redress their government. What this law does is it expands that to allow for the community to be able to speak to that local governing body with regard to not just items that are listed on the agenda, but also any item that is germane to that governing body. And so with that, I stand ready for any questions.
Do we have any questions from our members? We do. Representative McCalman.
Thank you, Chair Lady. Sponsor, thank you for bringing this bill. I'm always an advocate for giving public testimony. With that, can you address some of the concerns that there may be that it's going to be unlimited discussion on the color of the leaves on the trees, or the problem? Give an example: a school board meeting, and they're discussing the problem with Canada geese in the parks. I mean, can you kind of talk to that?
You're recognized.
Yes. So this specifically means that if it is an item, just like you said, if it's a school board, it has to be something that that board can take action on, that it's under their purview. So if you want to talk to them about their property taxes, that's not relevant to the school board. That falls under either city council or your county commission. And so with regard to time frame, all of those things are already in statute. We've given those local governing bodies the ability to be able to create the number of people that are signed up to speak, the amount of time that's listed for that public comment, the manner in which someone signs up for it. So that flexibility and that discretion is there because we want to make sure that that local governing body has the ability to craft that time frame suited to that body. Just like the committee that we sit on right now, we're limited in the time that we're here in this room. So that's why we create our witness cards and we sign up a certain number pro, a certain number for and against. And that's in order to make sure that we actually are able to do our business, that we're not hamstrung, that we're obviously responding to the community, to their concerns, but at the same time being able to do our business.
Do we have any more questions? Are we ready to vote? Oh, do you have a question? Yes, Representative Warner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for bringing the bill. And I think you answered my question. It will be up to the locals to set that. They can set like a 3-minute time limit per person or 2 minutes or whatnot.
You're recognized.
Yes, Representative. And that's the intent, is for them to be able to have that discretion and that flexibility to determine the time frame with which the number of speakers that they can have as well. All of those are left to those locals and to that body to determine all of what their rules, policies, and procedures are. Also, if they need to change them from time to time, it gives them that flexibility that we don't have to come back as the legislature and change that in statute. It's their discretion.
Do you have a follow-up? Do you have anything else? Okay.
No, I would just appreciate a favorable vote.
Thank you. We have no more questions. We're ready to vote. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote? Those in favor of this legislation, please vote aye. Those opposed, please vote no. Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Madam Chair, you have 3 ayes, 1 no, and 1 present not voting.
The ayes have it, and your bill moves on to full committee. You're welcome. Next up, we have item number 14, which is House Bill 8 by Representative Hale. We have a motion and a second, and there are no amendments filed. Representative, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and committee. Very simple bill here. House Bill 8, just simply currently all post-certified officers working for county, city governments receive a $800 training supplement. And so we're just asking for the post-certified campus officers to be included in that. They're protecting our children, protecting our campuses. Many of those departments, it just kind of gives them another tool in the toolbox when they're hiring and stuff. So that's what this bill does.
Thank you for that explanation. Members, do we have any questions for our sponsor? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. Madam Clerk, please open the vote. Those in favor of this bill moving to full committee, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please signify by saying no. Every member has voted. Does anyone wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please take the vote.
Madam Chair, you have 5 ayes and 0 noes.
The ayes have it, and this bill moves on to full committee. You're welcome. Next up is item number 15, which is House Bill 418 by Representative Scarborough. We're going to roll this bill to the hill.
Takes us back to item number 8.
And that takes us back to item number 8. And that is House Bill 1388 by Representative Harris. Do I have a motion and a second? We have a motion and a second, and there's no amendments filed. And Representative, you are recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Committee. The House Bill 1388 was brought to me by our Memphis local organization called the Cotton Museum at the Memphis Cotton Exchange. The Cotton Museum is located in downtown Memphis in what was once the most active marketplace for cash cotton trading in the United States. It represents the only space in the state of Tennessee, including the Tennessee State Museum in Nashville, dedicated to the story of cotton, a story that is central to an understanding of the history of our region, our nation, and the world economy. In 1793, when the cotton gin was invented, the South exported only 974 bales of cotton, and only 4% of the clothes in the US and Europe were made of cotton. Over the next half century, cotton became central to the world economy, accounting for 60% of US exports in 1860. This bill would make it where the state would enter into a good faith negotiation for the management of the Cotton Museum. And upon approval, it would transfer its management under the control of the Cotton Museum to the State Museum. And with that, I ask for a positive recommendation and acceptance to move it to the next committee.
Thank you for that explanation.
Thank you.
Members, do we have any questions? Are we ready to vote? Oh, we do have a question? Yes, Representative Warner.
Thank you, Representative. How is this museum currently funded now?
You're recognized.
Chair. So currently the funding, they see about 12,000 to 13,000 visitors per year. And so they are funded through just their admissions.
Any more questions? Are we ready to vote? Madam Clerk, please open the vote. Those in favor of this bill moving to a full committee, please signify by voting aye, and those opposed, please signify by voting no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Clerk, please take the vote.
Madam Chair, you have 2 ayes and 2 noes.
I'm sorry, but your bill fails.
Thank you, Penny.
That brings us to item number 15, which is House Bill 418 by Representative Scarborough. Do we have a motion and a second? We do. There's no amendments filed. So Representative, you're recognized to explain your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Thank you for your patience today. This bill makes government work better by clarifying the Comptroller's Office may publish aggregate survey data and de-identified survey responses when necessary to support reports published by the office. Currently, the law could be interpreted to limit Comptroller's ability to release certain survey responses and data collected through its surveys. This legislation addresses the ambiguity by explicitly stating that the Comptroller's Office is permitted to share aggregated data and responses as long as they do not identify, as long as the individual identities are not revealed.
Members, you've heard the explanation. Do we have any questions for our sponsor? Seeing none, are we ready to vote? Madam Clerk, please open the vote. Those in favor of moving this bill to full committee, please signify by saying aye. And those opposed, signify by saying no. Has every member voted? Does any member want to change their vote? Madam Clerk, take the vote.
Madam Chair, you have 5 ayes and 0 noes.
The ayes have it, and this bill moves on to full committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
This concludes our business for today, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.